We're live.
That's so anticlimactic.
What's up, everybody? It is a What Say You Wednesday here with Progress Realty Partners, coming to you live from our radio and video broadcast studio in Tinton Falls, New Jersey.
That's right.
AKA our office. Guys, I'm Dan Salonis with Progress Realty Partners, joined by my good pal and partner, Adam Dickert. Adam,
I think you would know, by the way, you covered my name with the whole entire logo of this thing.
That's because I wanted everyone to focus on me.
Yeah.
Guys, we get questions every week from investors asking us different opinions on situations, circumstances, whatever the case may be, about commercial real estate investing. And just as a note, if you are interested in commercial real estate investing, being a direct owner while getting dependable cash flow and remaining 100% passive, visit our website, prp.us, or send a message to Adam or I, and we'd love to give you some more information, show you some of the deals we've done and what we have coming up. So, Adam,
right. Yep.
Sure. We have 4 questions today, 2 for me, 2 for you.
That's
Takes
right.
2 to
4.
tango. And let's get right into it. This is going to be for you. And this is Cliff from Oklahoma. Hey now, Cliff. Okay. See what I did there?
Yeah, I see what you did. Yeah. Very
What's
nice.
the most
Very
important part of due diligence, Adam, you rat bastard?
nice. The most important part.
What's the most
You
important
have
part
to
of
go.
due diligence?
You have to go with tenant interviews, unless you're buying like vacant land or something like that. Tenant interviews, and actually, I'll give you a little story. I'll leave out some of the names and stuff, but we were actually recently under contract to buy a deal in Virginia area, and we had this whole game plan, move some tenants around. One of these tenants wanted to downsize. We had the whole game plan that was relayed to us from the broker. Love our brokers.
Love the brokers, guys. You guys are great.
And we recently did our tenant interview to find out the entire plan was bullshit. The whole thing is not true. They recently discussed it like 12 months ago. End of the story. Do your tenant interviews. You're going to find out what the actual scoop is, how the tenants are doing, if they like the center, with the probability of renewing, issues with the management, with the asset itself, with the location, anything you would want to find out without being there yourself, talk to the tenants. They're the ones paying you the rent. They probably understand the asset better than anybody else. Their businesses are here. They will tell you everything you need to know. Do your tenant interviews. That is the most important part of diligence to me.
Well, I hate agreeing with you, but I do agree with you in this case. And now, honestly, it goes back to the fact that believe nothing that you hear and half of what you see. Brokers, love you guys and gals. But brokers are looking to sell you a property because they represent the seller.
They're even called sales brokers.
Sales brokers. Yeah, I mean, listen, you have to verify information. And what Adam is referring to is we had a rather large retail tenant who we were led to believe and told that they were interested in downsizing at this particular property. So they were going to sign a new lease, 10 years. We were going to downsize them, bring in some new tenants. Lo and behold, we do our tenant interviews, and the tenant themselves tells us that they've already marked this location as a relocation.
Yeah, it wasn't even like almost. It was like just flat out. The guy flat out said, "This ain't happening. We're closing."
Ain't happening. Even after the broker told us, even to the dollar amount that they would pay in rent, what they would do in downsize, and apparently this hasn't been a conversation within the retailer for several years. So, do tenant interviews. Believe Believe nothing you hear and half of what you see. Trust but verify. Don't get screwed. All right. On to the next. I don't hide that one. We got what we got just for me.
Dwayne from New York. He wants to know how you handle lease renewal negotiations. What do you say there? Poofy hair?
Yeah, Dwayne. So lease renewal negotiations, you're going to handle differently than like a new tenant coming in. And I say that because it's an existing tenant. I'm going to assume in most scenarios the tenant has put some type of money into their space. If not, they've certainly put a lot of time and energy and mental commitment and everything else. So when you're handling lease renewal negotiations, I mean, we wait as long as possible. Honestly, if we know the tenant's not going anywhere, when I say that we know, I mean that we've done our homework on the market. We understand what other centers are asking in rent. We have an idea of how much it would cost this tenant to move and open in a new location. So if we know, based on other property rents that they're not going to really get anywhere cheaper, it's going to cost them a hell of a lot of money to move. I mean, then you have a tenant that's, they could play hardball, but in all likelihood, they're not going anywhere. So really to get, the leverage on your side as the landlord in this circumstance, wait as long as you can, because the less time that they have to move, to make a decision, they have a month or two left on their lease. I mean, they're going to be pot committed to your location regardless. So, I would say wait. If they haven't given you a notice on what they're going to do, I would call them, maybe 6 weeks before their lease is actually set to expire, maybe 6 to 8 weeks, touch base with them. But don't forget, it's a partnership. You don't want to play hardball with your existing tenants to a degree, right? It's a give and take. Don't gouge them just because they can't move and you're going to charge them double rent or something. But understand when you have the leverage and understand when it is an actual possibility for an existing tenant to leave for another center or another office building or whatever the case is, and when they're really just kind of playing their cards and just playing the negotiation game. So got to be careful. Got to be a little careful. All right, we got Tim from Pennsylvania.
Tim from Pa.
Our cousins over in Pennsylvania. He, let's see here. My due diligence period is about to expire, but I still didn't get my third-party reports back. What do you think I should do? So, Adam, what say you?
Tim, you need to go to the seller and ask for an extension. Okay, your third-party reports outside of your financial due diligence, your tenant interviews, your boots on the ground site visit, your third-party reports are the holy grail, right? I am not a scientist. I don't know if there's radon in the ground or any other environmental issues in the soil or in the water, right? Your phase one environmental will tell you that. That could be a huge problem, ultimately costing you millions or thousands of dollars or anywhere between there. Same thing with the property condition assessment or a property condition report. You have an engineer who goes out there and looks at every single piece of the asset, the roof expectancy, all the mechanicals, the parking lot. And he says, listen, maybe there's, a year of useful life on the roof. And here you are thinking that, this thing's going to last you 10 years. You never budget any type of CapEx dollars. Your third-party reports are so crucial. And in your due diligence period, you're still able to get out of the deal for any reason, right? You need to have those back. You need to have your scientists or your professionals tell you this is okay. That, I didn't mean scientists. I meant professionals. Your roof's okay. Your property's okay. Your environmental's okay. Your appraisal comes back. Maybe you're getting a mortgage and the bank wants to see the appraised value. If you're buying it for $10 million and the appraisal comes back at $8 million, either you're overpaying for it or the appraisal's out of whack, and maybe your loan is going to be affected. Change the entire complexity of the deal. Get those third-party reports. Ask them for an extension, especially right now. Everything's taking so freaking long. Yeah. It is insanity. I think it took us 5 weeks to get a third-party report back, and usually, pre-COVID, 3 weeks. But people are just swamped right now. Ask for an extension. Check all your boxes. Get all your ducks in a row before your money goes hard. Now you have to close. You don't want to be stuck in that situation. We call it getting our titty in a ringer. We don't like doing that.
Yeah, nobody wants to get their titty in a ringer. That's for sure. But yeah,
my titty going anywhere.
Yeah, I bet. So yeah, you gotta, like you said, you gotta ask for the extension, and keep in mind too, because I think sometimes people are afraid or whatever, they think, oh, the seller's not going to accept it, so I'm not even going to ask, right? But keep in mind, you always got to put yourself in the opposite shoe, right? When you're negotiating anything, put yourself in the other person's shoes, the other person's perspective. Let's say you've been under contract now, your due diligence period, 45, 60 days, whatever it might be. Let's say it took you 2 to 3 weeks to negotiate the original PSA. So you've been committed, and the seller has been committed mentally to selling this property for upwards of potentially 3 months, right? Do you think
they're in bed? You guys are in bed together at this point.
Right, yeah, and Adam gets in bed with a lot of weird people, so you got to be careful who you get in bed with. But at this point, they're pot committed mentally a lot of times. For them to find a new buyer, renegotiate the PSA, go through the due diligence period again, this, and that. I mean, you're talking about an additional, could be 4 to 6 months on top of what they originally thought that they were going to sell their property. If they're motivated to sell, they don't want to wait another 6 months. So, sometimes you ask for a week, you ask for 2 weeks. I mean, always ask higher, right? If you think you need a week, ask for 2. You think you need 2 weeks, ask for 30 days. Always ask for a higher amount of time than you need, because then you have room to negotiate. But you gotta get your third party reports, like you said. They're too crucial unless you're willing to take the risk. They're just too crucial to really any deal to not get.
Yep.
Well, my fiance is calling me.
Pat, you're in.
All right, babe, doing LinkedIn Live right now. All right. We got our fourth and final, Adam.
Evan from Pennsylvania. All these Northeast guys.
Yeah, a lot of PA.
Evan from Pennsylvania. Do you like when sellers master lease vacant spaces? What are your 2 cents? Because that's all it's worth, Daniel.
Yeah. It depends. It really depends. I don't think there's a black and white yes or no to this question. What I don't like is when a seller will master lease a space and then they're capping out the sale. And when I say capping out the sale, right, they're taking the NOI on the property, including that master lease income, and now they're going to apply a cap rate to it, and that cap rate is going to give them a purchase price. I don't like that, because ultimately, master leases, you'll typically see anywhere from 3 months to a year. Yeah, I think maybe one time I've seen a 2-year master lease. But the issue with master leases is, yes, you're getting that income, but depending on the tenant you might bring in, their income stream might be more or less valuable than the cap rate that's being applied to the master lease. So if you have a seller who's master leasing a space, let's call it 1,200 square feet, and you bring in a vape shop, then at the end of the day, you're getting net cash flow, right? You're not upgrading on the credit of that type of tenant. So a master lease net type of a situation might be okay. But you master lease at $1 amount, and a national wants to come in and they only want to pay $8, and the master lease is at $12. Well, now you're paying a cap rate on a property that was expecting $12 a foot on this space, and then a year, 6 months, whatever it is out, you're only getting $8. So your numbers aren't gonna add up. So I think the answer is it depends. It depends on what the cap rate they're applying to the property. It depends on how long they want to master lease it for, at what dollar amount, and what stipulates that master lease coming off. Is it time? Is it a new tenant? Is it when a new tenant moves in, starts paying rent? So there's a couple different factors. So my answer is depends.
Also, real quick, right? Excuse me. Why are they master leasing this, right? Is this like a guy who happens to own a strip center and he has 4,000 square feet that hasn't been able to be leased out in the last 5-6 years? He's a master lease it. And like Dan said, you're going to now pay a value on a higher income than this guy has ever seen from owning this thing in the last number of years. Mm-hmm. So let's say you pay $8 million, whatever, just for numbers' sake. You take away his master lease, maybe you'd only pay 6.5. Once soon as that master lease goes away, you will never see that income again. He has never been able to lease it. Why do you think you'll be able to lease it? Mm-hmm. Right? Learn about the leasing activity in the area, about the net absorption rate. Just do your due diligence on the leasing in the area so you can replace that in the future.
Yeah, it's a great point, because that's a lot of times when sellers do master lease spaces is when it's like problem spaces that they haven't been able to lease out, but they're looking to just get rid of the property because they haven't been able to lease it out. So they say, oh yeah, I'll pay you, $50,000 a year on this space in order to get an extra, $1 million on a sale price. I'm making up numbers.
Yeah, things got no ceilings, no plumbing, no lights. It's a shithole.
Right. Like, what's the fit out cost going to be? What kind of leasing activity, like you said, Adam? Man, my fiance does not give up. Love it. I love
Persistence.
It's great. So yeah, all great points, man. But I agree.
We have wild David May over here. I don't know how you click and make things pop up. Thanks, David.
What's David saying? Great info.
Great info.
Dave, you're the man. Guys, if you need debt, and I don't know if you've ever heard us say this before, but if you need debt and you're not talking to David May from Progress Capital or Kathy Anderson or Brad Domenico or Brian Anderson or Abe Mann, I mean, the team we got over here is just full of all-stars. You just don't like money is what that tells me. If you don't talk to Progress Capital and you need debt for a new acquisition or construction, development, you just don't like money. So go to progresscapital.com. And since we're wrapping things up, if you're interested in investing in commercial real estate, maybe you're a doctor, maybe you're an attorney, maybe you're a broker yourself. Maybe actually, I don't really care what you are. If you like it, but you don't have the time to do it yourself, or you don't have the money to buy a $10 million property, but you want the benefits of it, right? Dependable cash flow, depreciation, all the tax incentives, and you want them to remain passive so that you can hang out with your wife, not hang out with your wife, hang out with your husband.
Ignore your girlfriend, fiance.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. Visit our website, prp.us, or reach out to Adam or I directly. But that was this week's What Say You with Progress Realty Partners, guys. My name's Dan Salonis.
I'm Adam Dickert. Thanks for watching.
Yep. We'll see you next week. We got 4 more questions and 4 more answers. Until then, see you later.